I did it. I finished my last wholesale order. So I gotta package it up because it needs to go out today. I had to go to Walmart and buy a box because the one box that I thought maybe everything would fit was a little too small. So I got a slightly bigger box at Walmart. Usually I try to use a box that we just have at home, like if we get like a big Amazon package or something, but we didn't have anything saved. I think everything was like recently burned, so I had to get one. No biggie. I'm gonna put everything in the box and I gotta get the shipping label printed, and I'm gonna drop off the package at the post office on the way to pick up my daughter from preschool. So this is probably the smallest wholesale order they've put in from me this year, but somehow it seems like it took forever to get it all ready. But it's because I had like market prep to do also while I was working on this. So on this one, they ordered 20 chipmunks. They've been ordering lots of chipmunks from me. Oops. This chipmunk I think was in my first video as well, but I will link the pattern designer's Instagram in the description. This is a very good pattern. Like if you do markets, this is one of the best sellers for me. Customers, when they see the chipmunks, like they're obsessed. I mean, they're so cute. So so if you're looking for like a new thing to add to your market inventory and you're not sure what to do, definitely consider the chipmunks. They also ordered 15 of these baby mallards. So this was a free pattern I found on Instagram, but it was just like a solid cream color duck pattern. But I also slightly modified it because in that pattern, I think you had to make the little wings and then sew them on, but I just made it into a bobble stitch so that I can just make it no sew. So there's 15 of these. And lastly, 10 of the gray squirrels. So I make the squirrels in this gray color, also in this brown color as well, but they ordered 15 of the gray squirrels. The squirrel also is a pattern I purchased. I will also link that in the description as well. Alright, so that's it for the products. Alright, and I also include in the package my invoice and the purchase order. So the purchase order is what they email me to first put the order in, letting me know what they want to order, where to ship everything, and then the invoice is what I put together, and they should already have it because I always email it to them to confirm their purchase order, but I always include it in here as well. So I'm gonna put that in. Ouch! So having finished my last wholesale for 2024, I thought I would talk about how I got into doing wholesale in the first place, who I am selling to, how we started working with each other, what the whole process has been like for me, and whether I like it or not. Wholesale. As a maker, crocheter, fiber artist, as a small business owner, wholesale was another way for me to make more money. Um, it is something I've been interested in trying, but also like, where do I start? Like, how do I look for people that want to buy wholesale from me? Um, I've tried consignment before. I actually kind of do it still with a local store. It's a local bookstore, and I just have like a couple of little things like keychains and bookmarks and things like that, but I don't have like a ton of things there. But I did do more of like a legitimate consignment for a little over a year. I think it was in 2022. This store is a very popular store, like candy chocolate store where I live, and they had this huge space that they weren't using for their own products. So they were renting out spaces to local makers and crafters. So I started doing that. I think I rented out my little area for $25 a month. And then each month they would take 15% off of what I made, what people bought from my table. And then they would basically just write me a check. It wasn't bad, but for the little over a year that I did that, there were months where I was losing money on paying the monthly fee. So, depending on the season, like throughout the year, some people, people tend to shop more during some months than others. So maybe that was it, or maybe it was my products. But I did have a hard time like keeping it stocked with the right items. Yeah, consignment was it was fun to try. It was an experience, but I don't know that I would do it again to that extent. Um, so especially when I started doing markets, it was really difficult to market prep and to keep my table stocked at that store. So I ended up ending my contract so I could just focus on doing markets. But with wholesale, is different because you're selling everything to that store all at once. You obviously have to offer them a huge discount for ordering in a big bulk, but at the same time, it doesn't matter once you've sold your bulk order to that store, that's out of your hands. It's up to that store to make profit off of your items, but you yourself have already made that money. Um, so wholesale in that regard was something I was very interested in trying out. And surprisingly, basically the opportunity just presented itself to me out of nowhere. Like, I feel extremely lucky and grateful for that because I didn't have to do any like Googling or like research to see like how to start wholesale. Like like I said, the opportunity just presented itself to me. So this year in June, I was doing a market. It was an outdoor 3-day event. And these two ladies come into my booth and they start looking at things and they're talking about how cool everything is. And one of them was like, "Do you do wholesale?" And I said, "No, I've been wanting to try, but I don't know where to start or how to look for someone to work with." Um, and they were basically like, "Well," and I was like, "What is happening? Like, talk to me." And these ladies were from the Wilds Cooperative of Pennsylvania, which being an artist, crafter, whatever you want to call it, in this area, I have definitely heard of. So PA Wilds refers to this rural, like forested area in northwestern Pennsylvania. And the Cooperative is a huge network of artists and makers in this area. And they help promote their artistry, their products. So they'll hold like events like craft shows. They do online shops. So they have 3 physical stores and they're open seasonally. So they shut down in the winter months when people are not coming out to like go camping or do, the outdoorsy stuff that outdoorsy people do. So anyway, these 3 stores will buy wholesale from the artists in the network so they can sell them at their physical locations. So first things first, I had to join the network, and the ladies that I met at the craft show showed a lot of enthusiasm for my products and told me that they would really like me to join their network, and gave me their cards, a brochure so I could look more into what PA Wilds is, and what they do, and see if I'd be interested. So a couple days after the event, I did look more into it, and like I had already heard about them before. So it wasn't like completely new to me, and I was definitely interested. So a couple more days after that, one of the ladies that I had met called me, which she did tell me she was gonna call me. But at the time, I was like, well, maybe it's just one of those things, where they say they'll call you, but they don't. You know how people come into your booth at markets and they're like, they'll look around and be like, oh, everything's cute. I'll be back later after I've seen everything. And then they'll come back. Like, I thought that was maybe kind of like that. So when she actually called me, I think that I felt more like they actually like genuinely liked my products and actually wanted me to join the cooperative. And so I really like so appreciated their initiative to help me join, because I think a lot of us small business owners, especially when we are just starting out, we don't really believe in ourselves either. Like it's hard for us to take the initiative and take our products out there, which is why starting craft shows is kind of a daunting thing, because we're afraid of being judged and being let down. So for them to show the initiative and the enthusiasm for my products really boosted my confidence and made me want to be a part of their network more. So with a few back and forth emails, they helped me get on board so I can get started with the wholesale process. And they told me to put together a buyer's packet. And they sent me some information on what a buyer's packet is, what kind of information it should have, which was, again, a great initiative on their part, because I was like, what is a buyer's packet? I've never heard of it before. So basically, a buyer's packet is like a portfolio of your products. So mine included a little information about my small business and myself, how it all started, how to order wholesale from me, and most importantly, a list of items available for wholesale. So I created a table that included pictures of the products, the name of the products, the discounted price for wholesale, and my suggested retail price. Now, the pricing is what I spent the most of my time researching and asking around. But bottom line, I wanted the suggested retail price to be the same price that I set for those products for selling at markets.
Did that sound right?
I have a chicken here. I sell these for $16 at my markets. I wanted my suggested retail price for them to sell it at their store to be 16 as well. And if there was an item that I was going to set a higher suggestion for, it wasn't going to be by a lot. I would make it at most $2 or $3 higher than my price, but going higher than that felt unfair. So I played around with the pricing a lot for a bunch of my products. If I have I don't have a chipmunk with me, but I'll use this skunk as an example. This skunk right now isn't on my wholesale product listing. I am going to add it on there, but it's a newer product, so that's why it's not on there. But it's the same price as the chipmunks that I sell. So I sell the chipmunks and the skunk for $12. And I think $12 is probably the highest I would ever sell this for. So I suggested that retail price of 12 and set the discounted wholesale price to $6. So the store would buy the chipmunks from me at $6 each as long as they met a minimum requirement that I set. And from what I learned, you really do want to give them the 50% discount if you can, because you want the store to make profit off of your products. Now, because of that big discounted pricing, there are items I had to exclude from wholesale listing, like the bigger, more expensive products. For example, this cow. So this specific cow is not something that I sell. It's just something that I made with like the strawberry horns. But I sell cow plushies at my markets for $30. So for me to have the same suggested price of $30, I'd have to sell this for $15 for wholesale, and that's way too low. Like even if I did a slightly less discounted price, like 30%, that's like $21. Like I don't know if I want to do that either. Because it's significantly bigger and takes longer to crochet. I don't know that I would ever sell this cow for anything lower than 30. So there were items that I purposely did not put on the wholesale listing. So I do have to think a bit more on pricing for the bigger products. And maybe I'll reach out to someone again and ask for advice. But for the first buyer's packet that I put together, I only included the smaller, lower priced items. So the reason why I didn't want there to be a huge price difference between my market price and their retail price, although they obviously can set their own retail price, they don't have to follow my suggested retail price. But regardless, I don't want there to be a huge difference between them because I want the products to sell well at their stores. Even though I've already made my money from selling wholesale, those products will still have my name attached to them. Because this organization is very actively promoting their artists and their products online and offline, and I want my products to do well at the store so that the stores would want to continue ordering wholesale from me. If they order from me once and like they don't sell, if my products are not selling, they're not gonna want to place another order. So I want the prices to be fair for them as well as for me. So they first started ordering from me in August this year. And between August and November, I fulfilled 5 orders. So out of the 3 stores, 2 of them have ordered 2 orders because my products were selling well, they were telling me. So, the ordering process. When the stores place an order, I'll get an email from them with a purchase order. So, that tells me which store is ordering, and what they're ordering and how much everything is. So, I take a look at their purchase order to make sure everything's correct, all the prices are correct. Then I have to create an invoice of my own to send to them. And so, I got an invoice template on Canva, and I just customized the coloring and the fonts to my brand colors and fonts. It was pretty simple, but if you want to see how I did that, I would love to do a video on it, so let me know. And I basically just copy and paste their order and send it out to them. And when I email them the invoice, I ask them to look it over to make sure everything's correct. And I'll also give them an estimate on the delivery time. So far, there has not been a rush. So I think I've been giving myself like about a month to work on an order. and they've been fine with that. The first couple of orders, I had to reach back out to clarify some things, like whether because the prices they put were wrong or I had misworded some things on the buyer's packet, so they got confused. But after that, it got easier and we learned each other's processes. So they first started putting purchase orders from me in August, and since then, two of the stores have reordered, telling me that my products are doing great in the stores. So I fulfilled 5 wholesale orders since then, and because they're closed in the winter, I don't think I'll be getting more wholesale orders from them until next year. And hopefully they do continue to order. And in the meantime, this winter, one of my to-do items is to update my buyer's packet. So I need to rethink and reword some things, like the wholesale ordering process, the minimum requirement to get the wholesale pricing, and add more products to the listing, most importantly. In your buyer's packet, you set your own rules, okay? It's your business. So you can set if you're going to put a minimum requirement. So I said in my packet that for each item they're going to order, they have to order at least 10 in order to get the wholesale pricing. I am going to change that to do a minimum quantity total. So like instead of saying you have to order at least 10 of each item, you have to order at least 40 items total, regardless of what you're ordering. And then you can get the wholesale pricing. And you can decide if you're going to charge for shipping. Shipping's not cheap. So you can decide if you're going to charge for shipping, or maybe you'll do like a flat shipping rate, or maybe you want to offer free shipping depending on how big the order is. That's all up to you. Now, the store or the company that you get to work with might have their own policy on this stuff. So that's something that you'll want to look at as well. This is the only organization at the moment that I am working with for wholesale. But now that I have this buyer's packet all put together, I could potentially start sending it out to other stores and businesses. And it doesn't even have to be a local store because I can just ship the order out and start selling wholesale to other places too. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on selling consignment or wholesale for small businesses. And if there's anything that I didn't talk about or you want to know more about based on my wholesale experience, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.